guys, so this trick can be done with a borrowed and shuffled deck of cards. So let's go ahead, take the cards out of the box here and give them a quick shuffle. And yes, these cards are quite beautiful, as you can see. I'll leave a link in the description for where to get these online. But genuinely can be a totally random borrowed deck of cards, just like this, okay? All the cards are different and shuffled, so let's give it one quick cut and then we'll begin. So let's just pretend that I'm now gonna hold the cards for the first time. The spectator was doing all the shuffling. And from this point on, I'm actually going to make just a few predictions in the deck. And hopefully this will make sense in just a little bit here, but I'm gonna just go through and pull out a few cards. I won't show them to you quite yet. I'm gonna leave them face down here on the table, and I don't even know how many I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna do a few though. Just bear with me for a second. Shouldn't take too long. Okay, I think this one, maybe, okay, this one looks good. Then maybe one more. Let's see. Yeah, okay, I think I'll settle on this one here. I think I'll stop there. I think we're gonna be good with these 5. Okay, so I'm gonna leave these here off to the side. We will get back to these in just a little bit, okay? But for now, let's give the deck another shuffle. But as you can see, I just pulled out these 5 cards in the deck, and I actually kind of want you, the spectator, to do the same thing with your own 5 cards. But of course, I want these cards to be your choice. So I'm gonna just spread through the cards here, and at any point, you're just gonna go ahead and touch any 5 cards, and they can be from different places. So let's say you touch this one, and I'll just go very slowly here so that you can genuinely see that every card is a viable option. Let's say you go with this one. Okay, we got 2 left. Any 2 is totally okay. Let's go here. One more. Go ahead, you can touch any one you like. Let's say this one over here. Okay, so that should be 5, right? Yes, okay. So remember, you could have genuinely touched any 5 cards in the entire deck. It was completely up to you. Let's go ahead and just remove them here. We'll set the rest of the deck aside. But I'm gonna hand these over to you so that you can hold on to these. I don't wanna touch them for the rest of this trick. These were the cards that I had chosen earlier. Now we have one final option. Do you want to shuffle these cards or do you want to keep them as is? Because if you want to shuffle them, we can do this kind of shuffle where we either deal the cards like this, or we can take the next 2 cards and switch the order around. So you take the next 2 and switch the order like this. You can do that if you'd like. You can deal or switch. Let's say they deal 2 and then they switch these and they put this one down, and they're good with that. Okay, so you can agree cards have been shuffled now. This is a genuinely random arrangement of cards, but hopefully they're not too random, because I made this prediction, so to speak, earlier. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first card that I have here. It was a red 4. Can you flip over your first card that you have? It's another red 4. My second card is a red queen, and your second card is also a red queen. My third card is a red 3, red 3. I have another black 4, a black 4, and my final card is a black 3, and you have selected the other black 3. 5 cards all perfectly matching, just like this. And that right there is the trick. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this one, and if you did, be sure to stick around for the tutorial. Alright guys, so here's the tutorial for the trick that you just saw. So this is actually another version of a trick that I posted a very long time ago. I believe this is a much better version because this is a completely impromptu trick that you can do with any deck of cards. There's no setup required. I believe my other version required you to have like a piece of paper and to have an actual 5 card setup, but this version allows you to do it with a genuinely borrowed deck of cards. Without further ado, let's get right into how this is done. So like I said, shuffle deck, you're gonna take the deck back and say that you're going to pull out a few predictions. And all you're going to do is you're going to ignore the card that is on the bottom, but what you're going to do is spread and basically look at the bottom 5 cards, ignoring this bottom card. So from here, the 6 of clubs, 6 of diamonds, king of hearts, 3 diamonds, and 7 of hearts. These are going to be your 5 cards that will be forced on the spectator. You're essentially going to be pulling out the mates to these 5 cards here. Now, the only thing you want to make sure of is that these 5 cards are all unique and that there are no existing pairs within these 5 cards. For example, like let's say for instance, the cards were shuffled and these were the 5 cards that I saw. We have 6 of clubs and then the 6 of diamonds, 3 diamonds, but we have the 2 red kings here. So let's just go ahead and shuffle and we'll get a brand new selection of cards. So here, this looks good. 5 new cards, and also the bottom card should be unique as well because If this was a mate of one of these cards, then you would have to remove it. So just make sure the bottom 6 cards are all unique from each other. So all you have to do is look at the second to last card, and this will be the first card that you remove, or the mate for this card, and this will be the red 4. So I just look for the first red 4. I'm going to pull this out, set that down on the table. And if you ever get lost, just remember what the last card was that you pulled out. So red 4, and you're just going to go to the next one. So now we have black 9. So just say black 9 in your head, go through, find the other black 9, set it down. So black 9 was the last one, and now we have black jack. We're gonna take the black jack out right over here, just like this. This will be the third card. The next one will be the red 5. So go through, find the red 5, and set that one down on the table. And the last one after the red 5 is the black 3, which just so happens to be right next to it. That's a lucky case scenario. If the red 3 was within the bottom 6 cards, then I would have to change it for a new card. But that was totally fine because it was the one right after it, so that didn't matter. But once you have these 5 cards here, you're going to want to leave these off to the side, not in front of the spectator, but just in front of you, because these are going to be your prediction cards. And now you're going to have the spectator select their cards. But before you do, you're going to give the deck a quick shuffle, and the only purpose for this shuffle is to get rid of the bottom card. Now, you don't have to do a shuffle here. If you really want to, you can just like slip cut this card into the middle and set the rest of the deck on top, and that way now you have your 5 setup cards positioned ready on the bottom for the force. But if you don't want to do that, if you just want to get rid of this bottom card in a more fair looking way, in a shuffly looking way, then what I would do is get ready for an overhand shuffle. I'm going to peel off about a quarter of the deck, and then at the same time, my fingers are going to retain the bottom card like this, just like so. So I'm going to do a retention shuffle, and then I'm going to continue overhand shuffling all these cards. But then when I get close to the end, I'm going to start doing single cards. So 1 card at a time. What this will do is it will basically reverse count and move your 5 cards to the top of the deck. Once you're in this position, you're going to basically do the opposite, and you're going to now singly count 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you can just shuffle the rest of the cards on top. And of course, all of this just looks like you're shuffling the cards, but what you're doing is you are controlling the 5 cards back to the bottom. So now I have my setup cards back to the bottom, and there's no more cover card. So once you're in this position, you're now ready for the force. Usually how this Vernon transfer switch works is you already have an existing break above the 5 cards, and then you proceed to have the spectator choose any 5 cards. And you can do that if you'd like, but I personally like to get the break after they choose the cards. So I just go very, very slowly, and I have them choose any 5 cards. The important thing to remember here is not to spread quickly. You don't want to spread quickly because you really don't want the spectator to choose one of these 5 cards on the bottom here as one of their cards. You want to go very slow, one by one. And you can even go as slow as this, because if you go as slow as this, then they will basically be forced to choose one of these cards in the top. Some wording you can use here is you can just, kind of pressure them. You can say, yeah, just go ahead and touch anyone. It could be this one. Do you want this one here? And then they'll be sort of forced to choose one of these cards if you're getting close to the bottom. But once you have these 5 cards selected, of course, these are all random cards that the spectator has just selected. But what you're going to do is switch these cards for the bottom 5. So once the cards have been touched, you're going to continue spreading to the end of the deck, and then you're going to eyeball 5 cards. And you're going to say, now remember, you could have chosen any of these cards in the deck. And once you see the last card, you're basically going to sort of catch a break on that card with your pinky as you square up the cards. So now I have a break above the bottom 5 cards here. And I'm now going to grip the deck with my thumb and fingers on the long edges here, which will allow me to sort of release my left hand freely with the cards below the break. This is the exposed view of what I'm going to do. I'm going to ride my left hand up to grab the cards, but I'm going to guide these cards along with my hand so that they will actually be placed directly below the cards that I take out like this. So I'm going to take the cards out, and then I'm going to continue holding a break between these cards like this. And then I'm going to take the deck and place it on top of everything. And all I have to do now is take all the cards from my pinky break and just set them on the table. And I have successfully switched out those 5 random cards for the 5 force cards here, or the 5 mates that were on the bottom of the deck. And you're going to give these in front of the spectator. Now you're going to pull the cards that you pulled out earlier towards yourself and say, remember, these were the cards I did earlier. Now we have one final option before we look at these cards. Do you want to shuffle these cards? Now they have the option to say no, which in that case, the trick is over, because then you just start revealing the cards like this and the trick is over. But if they do want to shuffle the cards, then you're going to instruct them to do this special sequence of dealing and switching. It's a way that it looks like you're sort of mixing up the order of the cards, but in reality, you're actually not doing anything at all. You're simply dealing the cards on the table, but the act of doing this sort of reverse thing looks like you're switching the cards, but if you think about it, you're really just placing one card on top of the other, which is the exact same thing as this, but it gives the illusion that the cards are being switched. So you can have the spectator do this themselves if they would like to deal or switch. All you have to do is just keep track of how many times they do it, and then if you do it the same amount of times, then your cards will match up. So if you do it the exact same amount of times, then they should be the same cards. So once you do this, the trick is over, and you have multiple ways of revealing this. You could just do it how I did it in the performance, just by flipping the cards over like this, one at a time. There's another way you can do it as well, where you actually sort of reveal your cards first like this, and then you have the spectator spread out the cards, and then you can have them reveal it like this, where you kind of line the cards up, and now you can clearly see that every card matches. And that's a really cool visual as well. So it's really up to you how you would like to reveal the end of this trick, but the end should be the same, and it should be that all the cards are matching in the end. So that's the end of the trick right there, and everything can be examined, of course, because this is their deck of cards. I really like this version because it's completely impromptu and there's no setup or anything required. It's a really, really strong and powerful effect that you can do with any deck of cards. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this one, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and see you guys next time. Bye.